Yeah, so check this out. We've got a really cool candidate here. Bob Jensen here has been on the Hart board for how long now?
9 years.
9 years, okay.
So he actually understands it, which is important.
Yeah, and he's up for re-election, and part of the reason why I'm so excited to talk about him is, yes, we're going to get through the regular stuff like his history, where he comes from. We're all going to get to know him, get the warm fuzzies of his candidacy out of the way. But he also has this really cool mental health program that he's interested in instituting. And I remember from our talk with Steve Knight when he was in the studio here a couple months ago, that was a huge thing on his radar. And you in your life, that's an important thing. Me in my life with my loved ones, that's an important thing. And I like what Bob said on the phone when I was inviting you on the show, where you said, I believe this is the next powder keg, and I want to get ahead of it. So before we do anything more, Bob, give us your name, your story, your history, and let's just get talking about you, man.
And also, could you please explain what the Hart board
is? Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll tell you my secret that you alluded to earlier after the show.
After the show? What secret after the show?
My good-looking,
oh,
healthy appearance,
yes.
all that kind of stuff.
It's all the tennis, man. It's all the tennis.
That's part of it.
And the Santa Clarita living, right?
That's it.
I hope that makes it into a soundbite
Fresh air.
Future commercial for the city. So Bob, hit us.
27 years ago, my wife and I moved to Santa Clarita Valley. We moved here because of the schools.
Cool, okay.
Our kids were born here, raised here, attended Hart schools, graduated from Hart district schools, are now in college. The Hart district is, I think, a key to the community, the balance of the community, the wellness of the community in many, many respects, which we'll get to later on down the road, economically, mentally, and emotionally. What we do for public education in our valley is going to dictate the wellness of the valley economically, quality of life, and many different factors. Now,
so that was a really long-winded way of saying the children are our future.
Children are absolutely
rock
the future.
on. Okay,
but what schools? All of us kind of look at our areas. We look at Canyon. We look at Saugus. We look at West Ranch. We look at the different areas. What do you cover?
We cover a district that is much larger than the city of Santa Clarita. So we go to the outlying areas such as Stevenson Ranch, Castaic, other out of the city limit areas. We have 6 comprehensive high schools: Golden Valley, Saugus, Hart, Valencia, West Ranch, Canyon. We have a continuation school, Bowman. We have all the junior high schools in the valley except for Castaic Junior High School. That's in the Castaic district. Okay. But we have all the junior high schools that feed into those 6 high schools. Then we have some charter school arrangements with Mission View and opportunities for learning. And we have an adult school, Golden Oak. So we have a lot of stuff going on. We have about 23,000 students in the district.
Wow.
We're one of the larger high school districts in the state of California. So if you have a district that has junior highs and high schools, not elementary, it's considered a high school district.
Okay.
I might add also, we are the top high school district in the state of California, and I'll tell you why later on in the show.
Okay. That is something we love to hear, because you've got our kids basically from the age of 12 through 18 and beyond in this program.
Okay, so basically, I know this sounds boring, that somebody's running for a school board, because generally when we watch movies and television, when we think school board, we think of glorified PTA people. But in Santa Clarita, it's actually a very big deal, because many people don't realize this, but if my statistics are correct, I believe the Hart School District is the largest employer in Santa Clarita, if
That's
I'm correct.
correct.
Okay. And also, this is a super tanker that we need to keep afloat, because I believe you'd mentioned a statistic earlier that also every single one of our high schools is doing so well. All 6 are in the top 10% of schools in
nationwide.
Nationwide, yeah, okay. So that's a really big deal, and that's an amazing statistic to be proud of.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, exactly. So now you're up for re-election. All right, so hit us with what you've done, what you're most proud of, and why you're running for re-election. Because you've been doing this for 9 years, man. There's got to be a reason you're sticking in the ball game here, because you got some stuff you want to do. So hit us with everything you want to do. What's the pitch, man?
Let me preface that first with, before my 9 years on the Hart School Board, I served 4 years on the Newhall Elementary School Board. So I was elected to the Newhall Board in 2005, served 4 years, and elected to Hart in 2009 and again in 2013. So I've been serving for 13 years in public office. The point is this: public education is very important to the future of our valley, as we've talked about before. Kids are the future. We have to educate them correctly. We have to give them opportunities, all of them, every single child. We want kids to be happy, productive citizens. We want them to be school board members down the road, be city council members down the road, participate in community events, whatever it might be. You don't have to be in public office to participate, to make a difference, to help someone else out, but we can teach people how to be good citizens, how to live happy, productive lives, and that's what it's all about. My mom was a PTA president. My parents went to public schools, K through 12. So did I. So did all my siblings. I just think it's hugely important for the community. I like serving. I'm a former Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout. I've been involved in community projects all my life. My parents brought me up to be involved in the community. I think it's highly important to serve with the schools. You can be on a site council. You can be on a committee. You don't necessarily have to be on a school board to be involved and be part of the program, helping people move forward with their lives, helping people get education, helping people be productive citizens.
Well, many of us are very excited about how our kids do within this system. And as a parent of 3 who've come through it, I'm so proud of what they accomplished, but they couldn't have done it without the special programs or the various level of teachers. They each went a different route. But as they did that, I can say nothing but wonderful plaudits about the performance that they had.
Yeah, so now that we got the warm fuzzies of, like, we all pretty much agree that education is probably the most important thing.
We're also all Eagle Scouts, so we're all in agreement.
Yeah, what's wrong with you, Cody? Where's your eagle at, dog? No,
somebody had a life. Okay.
So anyway, okay, so we all pretty much agree that this is important. I think that's a reason why it's specifically a bipartisan elected office. The school board is. So I believe that the best indicator of future performance is past performance. So I want to hear what have you actually done while you've been on the school board in all of these 9 years, and what is it you want to do now that you're up for re-election, assuming you do get re-elected?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So as you mentioned earlier, all 6 of our comprehensive high schools are ranked in the top 10% nationwide of all high schools. That's phenomenal. I'm not sure there's any other high school district in the state of California that can say that. Usually in a high school district, you might have 1 or 2 schools that just don't kind of cut the mustard, but all 6 of our high schools are in the top 10%. That's phenomenal. And Bowman, which is not one of the 6 comprehensive, Bowman is the model continuation school in the state of California.
Okay. And continuation, by the way, is the euphemism we do for the kids that get disciplined and kicked out of all the other schools. Or
I got to tell you, I've had a lot.
All my buddies at Bowdoin were the ones that got kicked out. I know there's other reasons.
I've got a lot of friends who've had kids who had they couldn't settle down in school. They maybe had challenges in learning, but more importantly, they just decided they wanted to go on a technical target range, or they wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
Bowman got them through it.
And I was about to say, I know it is the euphemism for the
families.
people that get expelled from other universities, but the truth is, I've hired multiple employees that were in Bowman, and they're actually extremely well-behaved model employees.
Hey, let me
exactly.
Let
me tell you,
funny.
Bowman's a great school.
Uh-huh.
And Bowman has done wonders. I mean, we all struggle in life, right? We all have challenges from time to time. And a child who's struggling in high school that can go to a school like Bowman, you can turn your life around dramatically. And Bowman's a great school with great kids. It does wonderful things. So that's one of the keys, is we're in the top 10% for all 6 comprehensive high schools, which I think is outstanding. Career tech education is a big thing, career pathways, and we have a great career education program. We have 28 career pathways now, so students who may not go to college can choose a pathway in high school that can earn them a certificate that can provide them with an outstanding living, financial-wise, and good employment and a career without going to college. And for some kids who want to get a head start in college, they can get involved in one of these pathways and get a certificate in high school and be well on their way as they approach college and go into college. That's a key thing, to have 28 pathways. I'm not talking 6 or 7 or 10 or 12. I'm talking 28. We've made this a big effort the past 6 years. and it's really paid off. We're going to keep building this program and increase from 28 to 32 to 34 and just keep taking this thing. Sky's the limit.
Well, I've also seen how you've made that connection tie into College of the Canyons. So they either can continue it, they can add on to the certifications they started on, or they work in conjunction with it. There's a lot of integration going on here of all levels of education being done concurrently. It's beautiful.
It's fully integrated. The new Castaic High School will be an academy for state-of-the-art career education. Tied into College of the Canyons. It will be an academy program, and that's another one of the accomplishments is Castaic High School. That's going to open in August of 2019 with its freshman class. That's been an endeavor for many, many years, but it's coming to fruition, and it's a state-of-the-art. It's a state-of-the-art campus and facility. The other thing I wanted to mention, financially, we are very fiscally strong as a district. I'm a certified public accountant, a practicing CPA. Finances is a strength of mine, but I have other strengths too besides the finances. We'll talk about mental and emotional education down the road. We have significant reserves to meet the state mandates. We are financially solid. We've done very well financially as a district, and we have a balanced enrollment. We don't have declining enrollment. That's kind of a death knell for a school district, but we have a pretty balanced enrollment at about 23,000 kids. We get funded mostly from the state. Our budget's about $250 million for the general budget, and if you add in deferred maintenance, you add in bond money and other things like that, it's up to about $500 million is what we have to oversee and deal with. It's the largest budget here in Santa Clarita. So we take it very seriously. We spend a lot of time managing our financial affairs, and it's something I'm very proud of on how we've done that over the past 9 years since I've been in office.
Well, one thing I've noticed is how there's planning in advance as you work with builders to identify land to build schools on. You get them in a position where then they can be supported and built almost in time for the growth that seems to be occurring. And so we don't seem to be having the congestion you see at some school systems where they suddenly expand and they contract and they lose their teachers. We find there seems to be a flow that is actually working for the growth of this community.
Well, and we have some property on the east side for when that grows, sufficient for a high school and a junior high school. When the Newhall Ranch project on the west side takes off, we have an agreement with the builder to provide a high school and a junior high school. So we've had really good vision, and I have some other vision thoughts for the future when we talk about my thoughts for the future that'll tie into that.
All right. Okay, well, dude, hit me. No reason to wait, man.
Okay.
I was not going to say.
Well,
so I think you pretty much established yourself as a credible person who's been killing it for the past 9 years.
Yeah, well, this district has done really well. What do you see as the challenges? And maybe we hear about
and I do have some
crisis.
very specific questions about certain things in the school district. But I mean, I really, I guess, here's what we're going to do. Before we dive into this, we're going to have to go to a commercial break. So our filthy capitalist friends can brainwash you.
We love them, by the way.
No, I'm just totally kidding. Not kidding. I just said kidding. That is a horrible radio error right there. So no, we're going to take a filthy capitalist break here for a second really fast. And then I want to hear a little bit more about these upcoming things because this really, really interests me. Don't touch that dial. You're here with Mark Murphy, Bob Jensen, and Cool Cucumber Cody. This is Problem Solver Politics.
Daily Imprints is the premier one-stop shop for custom embroidery, screen printing, and promotional products in the Santa Clarita Valley. Owners Joe and Dana have provided KHTS with quality embroidered company shirts for over 3 years. If it's new business cards or promotional products you need to enhance your image, Daily Imprints is the choice for you. Located on Lyons Avenue, stop by or call today, 661-678-0508.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
The SCV Pregnancy Center has provided compassionate, personalized, and confidential care for 30 years.
Angela Bennett, CEO.
Positive urine test does not confirm pregnancy. It only indicates you may be pregnant. Only a doctor can diagnose and confirm pregnancy. If you used a home test and need answers immediately, the SCV Pregnancy Center will provide immediate pregnancy test results and uses the latest technology to confirm and diagnose pregnancy. The center specializes in pregnancy testing and confirmations. Make your appointment today.
Visit scvpregnancycenter.org.
All services free and confidential.
Men, are you feeling tired, stressed, or just don't have the energy you used to? Did you know this could be related to decreased testosterone levels? Luckily, there's a safe, effective solution. Weeder Prime helps support healthy testosterone levels with clinically tested key ingredients. Just 2 capsules of Weeder Prime each day can help change your mood, energy, focus, body fat, and lean muscle. Feel the way you felt 10, 20, even 30 years ago. Rediscover your Prime with Weeder Prime. To find a retailer near you, visit WeederPrime.com. That's WEIDER Prime.com.
How did you become addicted? A friend? Were you at a party and someone said, "Hey, try this"? Then you got the cold sweats and started shaking. And the more you did it, the more it didn't work. So you switched to the needle. Now you're a train wreck. Drinking, drugging, broke. Your family hates you, and you hate you. Get out of your hell on earth now. Call the Detox and Treatment Helpline today for immediate help. In many cases, your insurance may cover the costs. We can't guarantee it, but we can guarantee we have what you need to change your life for the better. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 800-694-1135. 800-694-1135. 800-694-1135. That number again, 800-694-1135.
Santa Clarita's hometown station.
Now FM, 98.1 FM and AM 1220, your hometown station.
All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. We are in the studio here with Mark Murphy, Cool Cucumber Cody, and Bob Jensen.
Oh, we are so proud that he's talked about the successes of the Hart District.
Yeah, so now we're going to get into Bob Jensen and his candidacy. First round softball. Second round is hardball. We'll ask you the hard questions. So we're going to cover transgender bathrooms, arms on campus. No, I'm totally just kidding with you.
Well, we should remind everybody, this is our junior highs or high schools, and we're in the top 10% of the nation. All of them are ranked in the top 10% of the nation. That's amazing.
Yeah,
this is incredible.
It's pretty phenomenal. For those of you guys that are just joining us, we have got Bob Jensen in the studio. He's running for a 10th year now of being on the Hart School Board. And he's been, I wouldn't say bragging, but there are pretty good accomplishments here. He's been informing us about a lot of their accomplishments as a board and as him individually. And people may not realize this, but every single one of the high schools in the Santa Clarita Valley is in the top 10% of high schools in the nation, something the whole entire board has to be proud about. And it's fiscally completely in the black and prepared for most things that generally I'm sure the LA Unified School District isn't. And on top of that, they've got some really, really good programs here that they're trying to institute in the future. I do want to get to this mental health thing. Before we talk about that, though, it's so interesting to me that you talked about some of these programs they have going on at Bowman to get these kids certified and ready for the future and future careers and everything. And something I've always been curious about is when I was, as soon as I left Arroyo Seco Junior High, and as soon as I left, a lot of these, my generation of high schoolers, right, they started dropping all of these programs, the auto shops, the wood shops, the metal shops, and everything like that. And I joke around that really the only relatively relevant thing to my life, okay, as an adult, owning my own company as an entrepreneur and being a functioning member of society was what I learned in wood shop, what I learned in metal shop, my civics class, and AP physics and AP calculus. Other than that, the rest of it was garbage, and I'm not kidding.
Hey, I was shop foreman, I'll have you know.
Oh, you were shop foreman. Yes, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, I see so much of this going, and it seems like our society, we had just interviewed about 3 months ago. One of me and Mark Murphy's first interviews was an intriguing author who wrote The Case Against Education. And one of his biggest arguments was that the modern educational system now performs more of a signaling function. Our excuse for public education is that, we're breeding better citizens. But it's really performing more of a signaling function. And if it's signaling anything, it's not skill or adaptability, it's conformity. Okay? So I look back at my public education. I feel so lucky I grew up in this valley. I feel so blessed with amazing and patient teachers that put up with my nonsense and really gave me a very solid public education compared to people that grew up in other cities. Yet I do notice that a lot of the wood shops, metal shops, and ROP programs got replaced with computers and this incessant idea that we want to send all of our kids to college. And even back then, I remember thinking, wait a second, 10% should be in college, maybe 20%. Are you sure? All, and I loved what Marco Rubio said in the 2016 elections, where he said, our society has vilified trade schools to such a degree that now people feel like they're a failure if they go to them. Okay. And we've glorified college to such a degree. Okay. That we don't have enough tradesmen. And then he made this funny statement that the world doesn't need more 19th century German philosophers. We need more carpet layers. And there's not a tradesman out there. I tell you, I run a company that deals a lot with escrow and home remodelings and things like that. And you show up to these big $30 million mansions that are getting remodeled for some celebrity that's buying it, or even just the $1 million ones that are getting done here, and all of the craftsmen are in their 60s. Yeah. All of the craftsmen are in their 60s, or they're dudes that have been pulled out of retirement to help finish this project because there is an entire generation that is not receiving job skills that used to be average Joe things. It used to be the GED mattered and was something to be proud of, a high school diploma. And now a high school diploma seems kind of like the new starting point. And then we have all these weird, obscure college programs. Like my buddy who wanted to be a truck driver, went to logistics and transportation management school.
Well, we don't hold Bowman to the same level as we do Canyon or Hart or that other school the rich kids go to on the west side, or Valencia or Saugus, or maybe even Academy of the Canyons. We seem to have some kind of a tier structure based on the size of a football team. I sometimes question this.
So my only concern with public education, what I look for in candidates, is a more holistic approach to understanding our society, what our society needs. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. At least my generation seemed inculcated with this incessant and insatiable desire to send kids to college. I remember going into my counselor's office, and then stapled to the wall were all of the college, like, oh, this person got accepted to this college, this person got accepted to this college. I kind of almost wish that there would be those same little construction paper balloons on the wall that said, this guy realized he's awesome at auto mechanics trade, and he's going to be making $150,000 straight out of high school because he got certified by Mercedes-Benz.
And this guy's the meat cutter earning $50 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm curious what your thoughts are, Bob, on how do you, as a future school board member, take that whole little, 10-minute rant into account when you're approaching how you're going to handle the school board moving forward? Like, what's your response to that whole point of view that I just dumped in your lap?
Well, as I mentioned before, we have all 6 of our comprehensive high schools ranked in the top 10% nationwide.
But why have all the wood shops and the metal shops gone?
Let me just put it this way. First of all, I believe that one of the reasons they're ranked in the top 10% nationwide is because of the career education programs that we do have. It's not just purely academics or athletics or extracurriculars, but it's the broad base that we provide in an education.
So what are some specifics, though? Like what are some of these programs that aren't just completely academic that you're referencing that you're really proud of?
I'm going to mention animation arts at Golden Valley High School.
Okay,
That is
that's
one of them.
To me, that's pseudo collegiate though, because I swear you have to go to an arts college really.
You
to
do to
kind
move
of.
on. There's a lot of development going on, but they're getting a lot of kids interested in taking the class.
Okay, fair
There's
enough.
a
But that's
building-
one high school.
There's a building construction class. There's a cosmetology class. There's
Is this at
an
every high
automotive.
school? Is this just in one or two?
They're at different high schools.
Okay.
Now, when we kick Castaic off the ground, we're going to have some open enrollment for all kids because we're going to make that a model continue career tech ed program. And we're going to have that available for all students.
Okay. So the reason I ask you this is just because I think, for example, I was so blessed, like so lucky, that I went to Hart High. I'm a proud Hart High Indian or indigenous person, whatever you're supposed to say.
Some people can't get into Canyon. But anyway.
Well, no, hold on a second. I was able to participate in Sound Vibes in the show choir there. World-class show choir. I mean, it's amazing. It's awesome. And I think I was so lucky that I went to Hart so I could participate in that. Had I gone to Saugus, I wouldn't have been able to. Unless my parents were aware enough that the program existed, wanted me to get into it in my junior high years, were able to send me to the summer camp before 9th grade, and then open enroll me and truck me across the valley. So I kind of feel bad for some of these. I'm glad that some of these programs exist, but what's keeping us from having these really good ones, such as maybe show choir or such as the animation arts at Golden Valley, from being in every school? Because I'm sure it's not just kids that go to Golden Valley that want this.
Well, so a couple things. One is I'm very bullish on kids taking these career tech ed classes, even if they're going to college. My kids did.
Cool.
And I took them when I was in high school. I took a plumbing type ROP class. And that was one. The plumbing contractor I worked for became my mentor in my life. Even though I didn't go into plumbing, I learned a ton of things from him, from working for him. And I've encouraged my own kids to take career tech ed because it rounds out the education. And because of the rounded education through career tech ed, through these career pathways, that's why one of the big reasons why I think we're ranked in the top 10%. But one of my kids actually took photo at Golden Valley High. She went to Hart and graduated from Hart, but she was interested in photo, and she went there in the evenings. I would sometimes take her there or pick her up there, and she had a great experience in that. But
So it's like an evening course in high school, kind of like when you're going to college or something. Okay, that's cool.
But you know, when you approach these things with enthusiasm and fervor and zeal, for lack of better terms, the kids get excited, and then you have good instructors. I mean, we just don't pick up anyone off the street and say, "Hey, you're gonna teach the auto class, or you're gonna be a cosmetology instructor." You know, these folks are scrutinized, and they're good people, and they're good teachers, and they have dedication to do it themselves. So these are great opportunities for kids to really expand their own horizons and learn what their talents and abilities really are.
Yeah, now see, you're speaking my language on programs like this, not because I want to somehow disincentivize college, but I just think that when I look at our society or what we're trying to put forward, I loved, when he was alive, I loved talking with my grandpa, and it blew my mind. At 13, he worked for the railroad. By 16, he had gotten his 2,500 hours for what was then the new Social Security program.
He only lost one finger.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, no, he didn't lose one finger, but maybe a couple of brain cells. But anyway, and by 17, he was lying about his age and going to fight in World War II. And by 23, he was married and, had his degree and was teaching math, and his wife was pregnant. I mean, he was doing more adulting by his 23rd year than I did by my maybe 35th year, right? And so I look at our society, and it seems like just like there's been credential creep and grade creep and everything like that, it seems like there's been this maturity creep. Because it's almost like, well, you just got to go to high school to get it over with. And then what we used to teach in high school, now they're kind of doing in college. Because let's face it, there's this signaling function that gets you 10 grand more a year if you get your college degree. But all of the advanced degrees that you used to go to college for, like being a psychologist, being a social worker, being a biologist, or an actual petroleum engineer or something, now those firms, they don't want to hire you unless you have a master's degree because they all know that college is a joke. So it seems like people just aren't growing up.
We have this issue of there's a lot more information and a lot more technology and a lot more challenges.
You know, some of it is
they are
technological.
our kids, which means it's a lot harder for them to get ahead.
Yeah, but you have have to admit, though, that to me it seems like so much of education has been diluted by this idea of making it easier for more people and this obsession with going to college that I feel a lot has been lost. Like, the metal shops.
Wait a
and
second.
the wood
He's
shops.
got Academy of the Canyons.
Yeah. Well, so this is what
Talk
I
about
want
the success of Academy of the Canyons, because we didn't even mention where they rank.
So Academy of the Canyons.
You totally stole my thunder, Dog.
I
I'm
did
gonna
on
get back
purpose,
to this.
because-
I'm gonna get back to this
Because this is part of the solution.
Okay. Well, see, I want to hear what I like that I'm hearing about. Okay, these photography classes and these animation classes and things like that, because I'm looking at what my grandpa did and what he learned in high school and how out of high school he was able to be a functioning citizen. Whereas now it seems like it's no longer out of high school you can expect to support your family and be a functioning system. It seems like the new normal is out of college. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, how can our society start pushing back that age of maturity and that age of inclusion and adulting in society from I mean, now it seems like you can't take somebody seriously until they're 30, and I'm not kidding you. They say 40 is the new 30. And I got to tell you, any 20-something I just don't take seriously because millennials are idiots, and I am a millennial, so I can say that. But it's like, how can we make more mature citizens out of our populace by going back to what my grandpa learned at a younger age that prepared him for life, as Mark Murphy said, without losing fingers?
Let me put it this way, and first of all, let me give a shout out for Academy of the Canyons, because it's not considered a comprehensive high school. Bowman's not considered a comprehensive high school because there's special high schools for special situations. But Bowman, as I said, is the model continuation school in the state of California.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Academy of the Canyons received a nationwide award that I would say is equivalent to being ranked in the top 10% of the country because of everything they do there and the quality of their education, their administration, how they work with College of the Canyons, and all that they offer. But getting back to what you've been talking about, what I believe we do really, really, really well in the Hart District is provide a well-rounded, balanced education to our students. If we have 28 career pathways, and this greatly benefits kids who don't go to college, that means we understand there's a labor shortage in trades and in jobs across the country and here in Southern California.
I wish there was a pest control ROP program so I could start hiring these college guys. Because pest control is a phenomenal career even if you're planning on going to college or even just as a summer job. I would hire these guys if they could get their license in 5th and 6th period in a heartbeat.
Well, we have a labor shortage. We already know that.
That's something we can talk about. Everything's up for grabs. Yeah. Everything's open to talk about. So we're this well-rounded school district that offers all these things, and we hired a director. Director is just under assistant superintendent level to manage and deal with and handle Dr. Marianne Doyle, a PhD, our career education program. If that doesn't say something about what we're doing and our commitment, I don't know what it says.
Cool.
But look, kids who want to go to college, let me tell you this, our English language arts scores and our math scores are so greatly above the county and the state average, it's ridiculous. So if you are a kid that really wants to go to college and really hit it hard academically, you've got it in the Hart District.
Now, what does that do to, though? I mean, because there's a million and one theories. I mean, people could say, it's because of a high Asian population and they culturally value those things.
My kid is
Others could say, well, of course, it's got to be the teachers. What do you think is the main reason why we're doing so well and excelling in those areas?
It's a combination. Parents are involved. When you have good public education, you've got parents involved. Mm-hmm. Number two, you've got motivated students who have an interest in it. But that's the kids who are interested in college. And if a student's not interested in college, that's okay. He can go the other route, he or she, and that's totally fine. We do have great teachers. We have outstanding teachers. We look very hard at our teachers before we hire them. We evaluate them. I think we have the top teachers in the state of California. We put great precedent on having outstanding teachers. If you've got a teacher that's motivated, just like my mentor when I was working plumbing, he motivated me. He was an orphan. He rode the rails out west, him and his brother, and was on his own when he was a teenager and just worked his way up. But when you have people that are motivated, and our teachers are motivated to teach and to be mentors to our students, and you got parents who are involved and kids who have, motivation, that's a great recipe for tremendous success. But you can have kids motivated through the Career Tech education program too. I mean, the kids that I see in those classes doing that work, like my daughter in her photography class, highly motivated.
I should mention, too, if you look at a lot of these teachers, they have professional experience in the job market prior to their teaching. They also have compete aggressively to get these positions. It's not like they're going to be handed this job. And they're constantly looking at renewal and development. A lot of them are coaches in a variety of sports. They bring that back into the classroom, whatever their subject matter is. I am so impressed with the well-roundedness of this whole teaching group and the fact that we have both male and female teachers providing an example of a variety of career paths and what to do. And my kids are a fantastic product of the system. They went on to be honor students at their respective colleges, both at the private level and at the state level, because they were competitive. My daughter was, 10 out of 9,500 students? She didn't get there just on her own.
So,
she's a product of our system.
You mentioned the word competitive. Are you renouncing the practice of giving participation trophies?
I do firmly renounce that because I was the guy that have to buy them for the rest of the team.
I'm just kidding. Okay,
I would
so
fight like mad, but I was also losing a lot.
Okay, so you guys are killing it. I would like. I'm wondering what's keeping us from doing like show choirs in every school and the animation program in every school and so on and so forth. I'm sure you guys can be working that out and things like that. In the interest of time, I do want to fast forward a little bit and start talking about a big fat, not elephant in the room, but like elephant in our society. And that's this mental health program that you had alluded to a couple of times in conversation. And when you started talking about it, it just sounded so good that I didn't want you to get it out of your system, you know, because I always say save it for the show, because oftentimes how people present something to me the first time is the best way to present it. And not a lot of people are talking about this, honestly. It's as much as I cannot stand the evils of socialism and communism, something I loved about Bernie Sanders was he was the only guy talking about criminal justice reform. And our criminal justice system is rank with so many problems that are really deeply affecting our society, but everybody else is so busy about their talking points that nobody's actually addressing this deep underlying problem. So to me, education is kind of the same. Mental health is kind of the same, that everybody is so busy about their weird little talking points. Like, I mean, we were going to joke about Dante Acosta's ad here, you know, how people are trying to say he's anti-woman. He's trying to say he's pro-woman. And then last year they were accusing him of infidelity to his life. And we all know it was hogwash, but, you know, he's worried about maintaining his reputation, yada, this and that. And we're totally...
Well, it pays that he's an independent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so we're all busy talking about this talking point of pro or anti-womanness, right? That we're not addressing this concern in our society that is a deep-rooted, important issue of mental health. So, like, in the minute to 90 seconds we got before our next filthy capitalist break, what's this mental health program? If you could sum it up in just the 90 seconds, we'll get in depth after the break. But what is this that you're suggesting? Because this intrigues me.
First of all, it's a very important part of our schools and society. What we do in the schools dictates society, trickles down to society. Mental and emotional health is a bubble that's about to burst. It's wellness, it's health. It's just as important as your physical health, probably more important. We do a lot of things in the district for it now. We do a lot of things.
What are a lot of things?
We have really good counselors. We have programs. We have people that come in and talk to students. But my thing is, we need to understand it better, and we need to do more.
Well, I'm aware that Richard Proskowski, who's very close to me as a personal friend and as my therapist, has been very involved in leading a team and gathering and building a very large number of counselors for our high schools and junior highs. I am absolutely astonished that he actually has counselors throughout that system, because in the days I went to school, we didn't get counselors. They didn't exist.
Okay,
it was assumed that the kids could make it on their own. And we actually have the beginning of counselors in place.
Okay, so we're going to talk a lot more about this when we get back from the filthy capitalist break. This is Problem Solver Politics.
Every year, thousands of local children, teens, and adults receive treatment at the Child and Family Center for depression, anger, anxiety, abuse, thoughts of suicide, and drug and alcohol addictions. Our professional staff provides outpatient services at office locations, in the home, the community, and on many elementary, junior, and high school campuses throughout our valley. If you need help, contact Child and Family Center at 259-9439 or childfamilycenter.org. Improving lives, one family at a time.
There are times when nothing else will do because you know exactly what you want. You want the Alamo, the taste of true Mexican cooking at its best. At Alamo, you're treated to a taste that is truly Mexican with an atmosphere to match. Enjoy a Cadillac margarita, try a mucho burrito, or sizzling fajitas. Voted the best Mexican food in the SCV and a favorite of former supervisor Mike Antonovich. Alamo Rotisserie in Granary Square, serving Santa Clarita for over 30 years.
You're going places, and College of the Canyons can get you there. It's not too late to register for fall classes. COC has 5 and 8 week term classes beginning in October and November. Pick up an extra general education class or take a class that piques your interest, like psychology, astronomy, dinosaurs, wines of Spain, and more. Want to take free classes? COC is offering free career skill classes this fall. Visit canyons.edu/class schedule now.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
All right, welcome back to Problem Solver Politics. We are live in the KHTS studio with the cool cucumber Cody Como, our producer. We've got Mark Murphy and Bob Jensen here.
Keeping it sane.
Keeping it sane. So we're talking a little bit about a very interesting program of mental health that Bob Jensen has suggested. I wouldn't say initiating, but, starting to make bigger and more prolific in the valley. I like how you said it was a powder keg that you feel is about to burst, and you really think that we can do more. So everybody says, oh, we're doing a lot, and there's more things I want to do. What is the a lot we're doing? Like, I'd be interested to see what is it that we're doing. You say, oh, we're hiring more counselors. Well, I mean, are they like sitting each kid down, asking them how they're feeling, asking them in-depth interviews? Are they doing analyses? Like, what is it that you feel we're doing that is helping now? And what do you see can be this more, in air quotes, that everybody talks about? The floor is yours.
Let me first of all say the whole area of mental and emotional health is both a complex and complicated area. And those two words have entirely different meanings.
Okay.
We're not going to go into detail on what those two words mean, but let me tell you, this whole topic is massively of interest to me. I've been studying it for about 2 years. I've met with folks in the profession. I went out of state in August to meet with a psychologist that a friend of mine who owns a large business suggested I meet with, because this psychologist works with the employees of this large business, helping them in mental and emotional wellness. And it was fascinating to hear what he said. I've talked to therapists, I've talked to counselors, and what's happened in our society where the bubble is about to burst, or why it's about to burst, a lot of it's related to our handheld devices, our cell phones. And as the psychologist explained to me, our brains are wired for communication, for interaction. Whether you're, Mark, an introvert or an extrovert, Cardon, whether you like to talk or don't talk, our brains are wired for communication and interaction and socializing. And when we don't do that, when we spend too much time with the cell phone in our room, Instagram, Twittering, Facebook, things like that.
It's called tweeting.
Okay. I like to invent new words.
Yeah.
When we're doing all that, we don't exercise our brains, and we can be subject to chemical imbalance and things of that nature. I am not a psychologist. You know what? If I could do it all over again, I probably wouldn't be a CPA, and I'd probably go into psychology. I'm just fascinated by it.
Okay. Well, think about it. It's not just the isolationism that's occurred, but also we don't physically sit together like we used to, and also we attempt this whole concept of multitasking, we think we can be studying at the same time we're writing lyrics to a musical song or memorizing it, and at the same time we're watching TV.
Well, you mentioned two key words here. I liked how you said isolation. I liked how you said exercise. To me, it almost does seem like there's a subtle form of mental obesity that happens before depression sets in, before anxiety sets in, because the same lack of exercise is happening to our mind as can potentially happen to our body. And I am amazed at how close we think Facebook makes us. While I see my friends less because I can look at their pictures of what they've been doing that week. I don't catch up as often as I do with dear friends of my past because I feel strangely, secondarily, remotely connected to them because I saw a picture of their baby at Christmas time, you know? So I am not convinced that this technological explosion we've had in the past 10 years is necessarily keeping us closer and doing what our brains were evolutionarily built to do. So continue, please.
So, Cardon, let me put it this way. Let me give you this example. I went to a large university, and when I was a freshman, I was required to take a Fitness for Life class, which was like a PE class. All freshmen were required to take it. And it's about jumping jacks and push-ups and things of that nature to stay physically fit. I'm now on an advisory board for that large university. And about a year ago, we had these advisory board meetings, and they were asking for ideas and suggestions. And I raised my hand and I said, we need to get rid of that Fitness for Life class. Not get rid of physical ed.
Yeah.
I'm half joking.
I get what
but
you're
I said, what we need for all of our incoming freshmen is a class, a full semester-long class on mental and emotional wellness that they can take to study coping skills, to learn principles, and to understand what they need to do when a problem might arise. Now, you could be fine mentally and emotionally for 30 years, and all of a sudden something happens and you have to deal with it. Or you could be having challenges now and overcome them, never have a challenge later on. But
well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what you just said right now is, I mean, there's several books that I take very seriously. The Art of Living by Epictetus, the Bible by a bunch of prophets, the Book of Mormon, and of course the Book of Fight Club with Brad Pitt. And this actually is going somewhere. The violence I see from youth in Antifa, from all of these riots that you see, from kids that join radical right-wing groups, from all of these very disappointed and angry people, stems from a statement that you can see Brad Pitt every day. He says, you know, our generation was brought up with no great war, with no great, fight in our struggle. Our struggle is an internal and a mental one, you know, and now we're angry. We're very, very angry. It's like I really do feel that that there is, like you say, this powder keg that I don't know if it's starting to explode already, and we just have been
we lost
at the wheel.
36,000
but yeah,
average a year to handgun suicides a year,
and it's because
it's going up, not down.
Yeah, and
and
I love how you say the teaching of this coping mechanism. See, it's I love that word, this coping mechanism, because if education is meant to provide good citizens, our citizens need better coping mechanisms. And we know that hard times create hard people create good times create soft people create hard times. I really feel that our generation is softer because of the prosperity created by the greatest generation and the silent generation. And because of that, we have created this internal powder keg of a whole entire generation that has been taught to expect all kinds of stuff. If we go to college, then our life's just going to be amazing, unicorns and rainbows. And when it's not, they're angry. And that anger turns into violence because they have no other taught coping mechanisms. So I love that you want to teach these coping mechanisms. Continue.
So there's a lot of good things we are doing in the district.
Okay.
I'm not saying we're not doing good things. What I want to do is bring it all together, establish some consistent policy, and schools are doing different things, and they're doing some pretty darn good things. I want to bring it all together so we share with each other.
Well, what's an additional policy you would suggest?
Well, let me say, for example, West Ranch head varsity football coach Chris Varner teaches a psychology class at West Ranch, and he incorporates this type of thing into his class. Chris is great with kids, and what he's doing is outstanding. And I want the other schools in the district to know what Chris is doing and to learn from that and apply that. Jason Dotermont, the principal at Hart High, is big on this too, and he's brought some people in to speak to kids, to speak to all students who are available, and to ASB leaders, and to encourage them to look out for kids who may be having challenges. That's a great thing, and I attended one of those sessions. I was very impressed with it. So there's a lot that we're doing, but my goal, just like Bowman is the model continuation school for California, my goal, and this is serious, is for the Hart School District to be the model school district for high school districts in the state of California in mental and emotional wellness. I can pull it off, I can make it happen, because the district wants that to happen. They want the best for every student. And the other board members, Dr. Charisse Moore has talked with me a lot about this, and we're excited to push this forward. But this is something we can do and we can make happen because we have the passion for it and we understand what it's all about. I study this because of personal interest. It's not a political thing, but as I sit back and I look at kids, I mentor some kids. I've got my own kids that have gone through the district. This is a really important thing, and if there's one thing I can do that can really, I think, make a benefit to society and our community, it's to really push this forward and really set the tone from the top. The governing board, we're the top. If we set the tone with this, we can proliferate it down through the system, and I think we need to provide this to our employees as well, because they can need assistance and guidance in mental and emotional wellness also.
Okay, so really fast, in 10 seconds, I'm loving everything that I'm hearing. This mental health thing is awesome. How can people find you? Really fast, your URL, your social media.
My email is bob@kkajcpa.com. My phone number is 661-705-4223.
Whoa, I'm keeping you from saying your phone number on the air. You'll get all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's okay. It rings
Check
directly
them
on my
out,
desk.
guys.
I'm happy to talk to people. That's what it's all about. Being an elected official is communicating with your constituents.
Okay.
Finest school system in California. You heard it right here.
Okay, this is Problem Solver Politics at 7:59.